All right, so we are out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is my second time coming here. This is Nadia's first time coming here. So I'm curious to know, I've been asking you this question pretty much throughout the whole entire trip, but what are your first impressions so far?
Yeah, I didn't really know a whole bunch what to expect because I don't know why, but I haven't really seen a lot of Vegas on the internet. And maybe I just didn't look for it, I guess. But my expectation was just a bunch of clubs and casinos on the street.
Yeah.
And well, it feels very vibrant.
Yeah, very
like
vibrant.
New York, but also kind of different. I don't know. Yeah, I like the palm trees. There's a little bit of billboards.
Yeah.
But there's still the modern apartments.
Yeah, I think those might actually be hotels, if I'm not mistaken.
Those are all hotels?
Maybe. But on the topic of hotels and tourism and all of that, a lot of people don't know, but Nadia actually graduated with a degree in tourism management, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, we've seen a lot of very touristy places here in the US thus far. We saw the French Quarter, we saw Times Square, we've seen the Strip in Las Vegas now, or at the very least we are seeing it. And here in the near future, we are going to be seeing more tourist areas in another US state. So I'm curious to know, obviously there are travel advisories and things of that nature, but under normal circumstances, how do you feel these American cities are doing in terms of setting themselves up for tourism?
Well, I feel like Vegas, from the few things I've seen so far, seems to actually do pretty well with all the casinos and hotels.
Yeah.
And just everything they're like offering, all of these experiences. I feel like maybe so far this is even the place that does that the best.
Yeah. So, out of all of these places, right, that we've seen, how would you rank them in terms of tourism?
What do you mean?
Just in terms of, as a tourist, and having the perspective of someone who majored in tourism management, how do you feel these places are performing or positioning themselves as tourist cities? How would you rank them? Let's just say your top 5.
As in, which cities do the best?
Yes.
Well, we haven't been here for that long at all.
Yeah.
In Vegas, but it's probably somewhere at the top.
It doesn't have to be in any particular order either.
Let me think which we even visited. I think it's definitely either here, Vegas, or New York that's at the top.
Okay. So these are the top 2 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd definitely say that. You visited Boston,
Yes.
New Orleans,
Yes.
Chicago.
Yep.
Am I missing any big cities?
I don't think we stopped in any other big cities. We did see a lot of Colorado over the past couple of days, but we didn't necessarily stop in a whole lot of different towns or anything like that. But I guess you could count Colorado as well with the ski towns and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that would be 3rd.
Colorado?
Yeah. Because even though in some places in Colorado it doesn't seem like a lot of people are actually living there.
Yeah.
Some places seem more optimized for tourism itself.
Yeah.
Where there were like these hotels and places where you could go skiing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You didn't really see a lot of houses.
That's true. I will say with Las Vegas specifically, they have to be on top of their game because
Yeah.
look, it's hot as hell out here. I'm from Texas. I was raised in Texas most of my life, and I have to say this is giving Texas a run for its money. It's May 30th, I think, at the time of us filming this, and it is literally over 100 degrees right now, no exaggeration. We woke up in the desert in Utah. It was so dark last night we didn't even realize we were in the desert.
Yeah.
But she has now been exposed to the desert and everything that entails. How do you feel about this?
It's definitely very hot.
Yeah.
And it is a different kind of hot than in Dallas.
Yeah, that dry heat.
Yeah. That maybe this could be like a little bit easier to handle with.
Yeah.
Deal with. But I don't know how people can live here, honestly.
Yeah, I really don't understand it. I do not understand it for the life of me. We were just talking about that this morning when we woke up. We don't understand how people sometime in the past saw this stretch of land and decided this is where we're going to build the city. I think that this is a perfect exemplification of human arrogance. That's literally the best answer or explanation that I could come up with. Because you have to think about it. Not only did they decide to build a city in the middle of the desert where you basically have to import all of your water, but they also decided to make the city centered around gambling,
Yeah.
which is another form of human arrogance. But we're gonna go ahead and walk back this way, see what we can get into over here. But I feel like Vegas, and to a certain extent Denver as well, with that guy approaching me at the gas station asking for something. I don't even know what the guy was talking about, but there are a lot of people kind of in this region that are clearly gone.
Yeah.
I'm talking about completely mentally out of there. I don't know if it's mental illness, drugs, or a combination of both. What I do know is that in Nevada, they also have Area 51, which I'm not gonna lie, I did have an intrusive thought of we should go to Area 51. But then I remembered that you are not American and you would likely get deported.
Actually, these two Dutch YouTubers went there once.
Really?
Yeah. And
How did that work out for them?
Not that well.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Basically, there's this thing where if you go to Area 51, supposedly, this is just from what I've heard and seen on YouTube, this silver SUV will drive up to you and ask you to leave. And then if you go any further after that, they'll arrest you. And who knows what they do to you after that.
They are allowed to shoot you or something.
I think if you proceed after that, then yeah, they do have the right to shoot you
Oh my god.
because it's a military base. We just caught a big whiff of the most potent marijuana
Yeah.
of all time. But that's another thing that we don't know anything about because we're both sober. But let's go down those stairs or down the escalator, see what we can find over there. Vegas is definitely an interesting place. Where would you rank Vegas in terms of living? So we've only been here for maybe an hour and a half at most, but where would you rank it as far as living compared to the other places?
At the bottom.
At the bottom?
Probably.
Very bottom.
Yeah, as I can think of right now. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I might be right there with you. You know,
Yeah.
there was a point in time in 2021, the reason why I took a trip here was because I was thinking about moving here. Yeah, I was thinking about moving here. I'd heard good things about it, and I kind of thought of it as sort of a knockoff Dubai. But honestly, I don't want to live in Dubai either. I don't want to live anywhere that's devoid of vegetation, ever. It's too damn hot
I
here
don't
too.
see the appeal of living.
No, some people like the desert though. Some people are into the desert vibe. You get some really nice sunsets out here, but as far as just day-to-day living, I don't see the appeal at all.
Out there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always just something going on out here. And this place actually gets a lot more interesting at night, but I don't know what this is all about. This is Las Vegas in its purest form. You can see Caesar's Palace over there. You have a lot of other buildings that I don't really know what they are, what they're for. I think you have some sort of stadium here, maybe MGM Grand, something like that, where a lot of fights take place, a lot of boxing events. And Las Vegas is also probably, could be wrong about this, is probably the boxing capital of the US. So the same way that in the Netherlands, a lot of young men are into kickboxing, here a lot of young men are into boxing. But this is definitely a place that I think everyone should visit, just like Times Square, but understand what you're getting yourself into, because this is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
So just imagine what it's like at night with all the lights and everything.
Yeah. I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah. If we come back at night, we're driving through, because I think my capacity for stimulation is about as low as it can get right now. But all these people, a lot of them probably from other places. And
They have that's cool though.
what's
They
that?
have these water thingies on the chairs.
Yeah. They have the little water things that spray cool mist onto you. So that's pretty cool. But I think we might make the rounds just one time, walk to the end of the street and back, and then we're getting up out of here. But I don't know, we'll see. We're just walking around now. I hope the camera doesn't overheat as well, because this camera overheats really easily. But any closing thoughts?
How can you even eat there with this music? You can't even hear anyone.
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves, honestly, is restaurants that have really, really loud music. I cannot stand that for the life of me. I prefer to eat in the car, honestly. I like just eating in silence, or just with Nadia, watching Netflix, or something like that.
Another thing I want to mention is I feel maybe less safe here than in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of wild energy going on here.
Yeah, a lot more tweakers for sure out here. Interesting architecture, I will say that. You have the Eiffel Tower right here. So you said that you didn't really know much about Vegas. What about other Europeans? Does your family know much about Vegas, for example?
Yeah, I bet you do.
So is this on their list of places to visit?
I don't think so.
To be the guest with a
my
man
family
who's a sinner.
personally.
Yeah,
And Zacchaeus stood and
know,
said unto the
maybe my
Lord,
brother.
Behold, Lord,
yeah, I can see that.
half of all my goods I'm going to give it to the poor. And if I've taken
Definitely not
anything
my mom.
from any man
Yeah.
by false
No, I don't think she liked this at all.
I restore
But
fourfold.
one other thing I will say,
And Jesus said
I think I might have
unto him,
mentioned this to you before
This
as well,
day,
but
this
not too long
day
ago,
is
maybe,
salvation come to this house.
actually it was kind of long ago, this was maybe
For as
7
much
years ago,
as
something
he
like that.
also is a
There was
son of
another mass
Abraham.
shooting here in
For the
Vegas,
Son of Man is
where
the
somebody basically booked a room at a hotel like that one and got in one of those high up rooms and just started picking people off. So imagine you see all these people here. I think there was some kind of festival or concert going on as well. So he was literally just picking people off from the top hotel room, and he got about 50 people. He killed around 40 to 50 people, which I think at that time, maybe still to this day, qualified as the deadliest mass shooting in American history. So just a little not so fun fact about Vegas. But just like with Columbine, we still see a lot of advertisements for guns and all of that. So I don't know, it's kind of crazy to me. But we've already discussed that. We already shared our viewpoint on the gun control situation. But I think now is a good time to turn this camera off and walk up this street right here.
What's this?
I don't know what any of this stuff is.
No, these stars.
Oh, the stars? I don't know. But they have these in LA as well, which I guess you'll see in the next video.